It begins with a moment no one expected. A quiet New York night suddenly lit up by camera flashes as Daniel Radcliffe and Tom Felton step into frame together, side by side for the first time in more than a decade. A reunion that fans dreamed about but never imagined would happen so casually, so unexpectedly, and in such a heartfelt way. Right in the middle of New York City, a place that has become a second artistic home for both actors. It feels like time folds in on itself as the stars who once brought Harry Potter and Draco Malfoy to life exist again in the same moment. Not in front of wand sparks or Hogwarts staircases, but on a simple night out supporting each other's creative journeys. And just like that, the magic is back. The reason behind this rare moment is as touching as it is surprising. Daniel Radcliffe, now a celebrated theater star and newly crowned Tony Award winner, attended a special screening of the pro-shot version of his Broadway triumph, Merrily We Roll Along, the musical he performed alongside Jonathan Groff and Lindsay Mendez. The screening itself was already emotional for fans who watched Daniel's artistic evolution on stage, but the night became monumentally more meaningful when Tom Felton appeared, not as a former co-star, not as an old colleague, but as a friend stepping in to support another friend. Their reunion doesn't take place on a set, during a formal anniversary gathering, or in a staged press event. Instead, this is an impromptu meetup, casual yet deeply nostalgic. It has been 3 years since their last official reunion during Harry Potter's 20th anniversary, which was filmed and released as a global celebration of the franchise. But even that special doesn't hold the same emotional weight as seeing Daniel Radcliffe and Tom Felton together here, not reminiscing about the past, but actively cheering for each other's present. For fans, this unexpected moment feels like an emotional portal to the days when Hogwarts, the Great Hall, and the forbidden corridors of magic shaped our lives as much as theirs. And when Tom Felton smiled next to Daniel Radcliffe for the camera, it unlocked a wave of collective nostalgia the world didn't know it needed. The timing couldn't be more meaningful. Tom Felton recently achieved a milestone of his own, his Broadway debut in Harry Potter and the Cursed Child, stepping once again into the role that defined so much of his youth, Draco Malfoy. Returning to Draco isn't just acting for Tom, it's stepping back into a piece of himself. In interviews, he's spoken openly about how deeply the character shaped him and how connected he still feels to that world. And now, making his American stage debut in New York at the exact age Draco would be in the story, carries a poetic weight even he didn't expect. Seeing him embrace that legacy, right as Daniel reaches a peak in his own theater career, creates a shared arc that feels destined. One earned his first Tony Award for his intense emotional performance in Merrily We Roll Along, while the other stepped into the magic of Broadway through the world that linked their lives forever. Their creative paths have never been more intertwined, and this reunion captures that in a way words barely contain. What makes the moment even more emotional is what Daniel Radcliffe said about his relationship with the people from the Harry Potter films. "There are people on these films that are foundational to who I am as a person and an actor," he shared in an interview. "It's not nostalgia talking, it's truth. The experience of growing up on those massive sets, surrounded by fellow young actors who were navigating global fame together, created a bond that isn't easily explained. There's always been something that's like, I don't know, a kinship," he added, "and nothing captures that kinship better than this reunion. When you see Daniel and Tom standing shoulder to shoulder, it doesn't feel like co-stars reconnecting. It feels like two people who survived a whirlwind together and still understand each other in ways few others can. They didn't just play iconic roles, they lived inside a global phenomenon during the most fragile years of their lives. And now, decades later, the bond is still there." At the screening, Daniel Radcliffe expressed his deep affection for Broadway, almost glowing as he talked about the stage. "Every time I come to the theater and work here, I get better as an actor," he said. "I feel really lucky, really grateful." His words echo throughout New York City, a place that has watched him transform from child star to one of the most respected stage actors of his generation. And the fact that Tom Felton was there to witness one of his proudest moments adds an emotional layer no fan could have scripted better. But the admiration wasn't one-sided. Tom Felton, now immersed in his own Broadway chapter, spoke passionately about how Daniel inspired him. "He was one of the early inspirations for me to come to Broadway," Tom admitted. "I saw him, I think, in his first show, what was it, 10 plus years ago?" His voice carried genuine gratitude, mixed with the disbelief that the boy he once tormented on screen, the scarred Potter, The enemy he sneered at in class is now someone he looks up to in real life. "It's crazy that he would think of me as an inspiration for anything," Daniel Radcliffe said, genuinely touched. That pure, unexpected humility crystallizes why fans adore him. Despite achieving acclaim far beyond the wizarding world, he remains grounded, grateful, aware of the people who stood beside him in the early years. As for Tom Felton's performance in Harry Potter and the Cursed Child, it's already making its own headlines in New York. The show continues to break box office records, and Tom's portrayal of an older, more reflective Draco has been described as one of the production's most moving elements. For an actor who spent his teenage years playing a misunderstood villain, stepping back into Draco as an adult offers a new emotional depth, allowing him to heal parts of the character and perhaps parts of himself. What makes the entire storyline so touching is how naturally their lives are intersecting again. Tom is in the city for Broadway. Daniel is in the city filming, performing, or celebrating new work. Their paths cross not because Warner Brothers planned it or because a reunion special demanded it, but because life brought them back to the same place at the same time. It feels organic, honest, unfiltered. These two once squared off in wand duels, glared at each other across the Hogwarts courtyard, and acted through some of the most intense cinematic rivalries of the 2000s. Yet behind the scenes, they developed a respectful, affectionate camaraderie. And now, in this new era of adulthood and career evolution, that bond is blooming again. No spells, no props, no scripts. Seeing them together brings back memories of magic, mischief, Quidditch fights, and forbidden forests. But it also represents something deeper, the journey from childhood fame to artistic maturity. And there is something powerful about watching these men evolve, stay grounded, and continue supporting each other. Imagine walking down a New York City street and spotting Daniel Radcliffe and Tom Felton casually posing for photos together after more than 10 years of not doing so publicly. It almost doesn't feel real, but that's the beauty of the moment. It is real. It's unscripted, sincere, and rooted in decades of shared history. This reunion is more than a nostalgic snapshot. It's a reminder of the emotional legacy of the Harry Potter universe. Fans didn't just fall in love with the story, they fell in love with the people who lived it. And every time Daniel and Tom reunite, it reawakens that magic, reminding millions of fans of what that world meant, and still means, to them. There are actors who move on and actors who grow. And then there are actors who do both while honoring the journey that got them there. Daniel Radcliffe and Tom Felton are living proof of that. Their reunion isn't just a moment in pop culture, it's a tribute to friendship, to growth, to the unbreakable ties of shared history, and to the timeless power of stories that define a generation. And as they stand there, smiling in New York City, celebrating each other's wins, it becomes clear the magic never left. It simply grew up with them.